Okay, so we are up to
bottom of pay.
We are on the bottom Pei Hey Amud Beis.
Right before the Teichacha also is similar.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I gotta switch mediums.
For your Gemara cup on?
Yaakov, you're muted.
How did I get muted?
My bad. Hamevin Yavin.
Where'd we get up to?
The bottom of pay have a bit. I don't remember. I didn't mark exactly where, but we didn't turn the page. We wanted to go further.
Oh yeah, we're up to Amarav. Amarav, yeah. I don't know what's yeah. Okay, so we're in the sugya of trying to whether you could be kinda if you have the kli, you have a utensil of the buyer and it's in the seller's reshus. Is he kinda or not? Can he be kinda? Can you be kinda by putting food into or anything into the kli of the buyer when it's in the reshus of the seller? Right, so that was the Gemara. The Gemara was trying to go through different proofs for this. So Amarav Tashmas, we learned in the Brisa, Masha Chamarav Apoylev. Let's say a guy pulled his chamor and his poylev and his workers, right? Meaning there's in the following daf, there's a lot missing from the words of the Gemara. I mean, it's probably missing from our brain to understand the words of the Gemara. Right. So basically, what's going on over here is he pulled the meichers, the seller's donkey and workers, right? And they had the products that he was buying on top of them. And he brought them into.
Finish it.
Right, and he brought them into his reshus, right? And he brought it into his house. Whether he set the price, pasak means they made a psak, meaning they made a deal. Before they measured it, or whether they measured it out before they made the deal. They're both allowed to change their minds, meaning the seller's allowed to change their mind and the buyer's allowed to change their mind. So again, basically what happened here is that the product or whatever it was that was being bought was on top of animals or on top of workers, and then the buyer pulled it into his reshus. So the Gemara, the Bryce is saying that he is potter, not potter, meaning it's not considered a kinyan, and both sides can retract. All right, so now what's the Gemara want with this? So on to Amar Aleph now. Pirkon, what's that? Then before that, we finished the price of Pirkon, but if he unloaded it, and then he brought it into his house. So meaning now, where's the stuff? The stuff's on the floor in his house. Pasak actually modad. Then, if they made a price before it was measured, then they can't go back because the product is on the floor of the reshus of the buyer. And they made a deal. But if he measured before he set the price, and then they're both allowed to change their mind because where was the kinyan? They never decided on a price. So from this Gemara, what do you see? That he certainly was not kainet in the reshus of the seller. With the Caleb the Meicher, Rishus Lekeach Leikana, Caleb the Lekeach, Nam Rishus Meicher Leikana. So when the Caleb of the seller in the Rishus Lekeach is not going to rats, that's what it says at the end of the Brisa. Even though the stuff is inside the buyer's Rishus, it's still not a sale if they didn't make a deal. So if that's not what it is, so Caleb the Lekeach, Nam Rishus Meicher Leikana, so it's got two-way street. So again, if the kalim of the seller are not going to do a kinyan, so that in the rishus of the buyer, then for sure the kalim of the lekeach in the rishus of the seller are not going to be kind. Right? Meaning the two go hand in hand. So Amar Rabbi Nachman Yitzchak says it's not talking about where there was kalim, it's shafcha. It's talking about where he spilled it out. Meaning the seller took the product and spilled it out into the floor. Right? So Mamela, they took it out of the anything having to do with the seller. Right? That's why the kinyan works. So the Gemara says, Ikbid Rava was makbid. He didn't like this teretz. Midi shavchan katani. The Brisa doesn't say that they spilled it out. Pirkan katani. It says he unloaded it. Right? Elamar Mamar Ravashi must be masachli tetumi. It's talking about where it was food that's really garlic. When the garlic, they never used utensils. I don't know exactly how they carried it, but they did not use utensils. Meaning, right when they take them off of the animals, then they're straight into the rishus of the buyer. All right. So Mamela, there's no kalim in this whole case. So since there's no kalim in this case, you can't bring raya for or against whether the kalim of the buyer that are in the rishus of the seller work, what the kinyan works or not. So when I asked, it says that they unloaded it. Mali pasak or mali lai pasak. Why are you saying that it depends on whether they made a deal, whether they didn't make a deal, meaning at the price or not a price? It's once they unload it into the rishus of the meicha, then that should be a kinyan. So Malays, they said back, pasak sampadaite. When they come to a price, then the guy is saimich his das, meaning he says, we set a price, I'm buying it. Loi pasak loi sampadaite. But as long as they haven't come to an agreement of what the price is, then he's not saimich his das. Okay, so then Amalei Ravina L'Ravashi Toshma to Rav Shmuel Damar Tavayu Kalim Shaladam kind of like B'chol Makkah. It says that the kalim of a person are kind of everywhere. What does it mean B'chol Makkah? Lasuye Mai. What's it coming to include? Lav Lasui Rishus Maicha. Isn't it coming to include the Rishus of the Maicha? So you have a straight proof that Rav and Shmuel hold that the kalim of the buyer in the rishus of the meicher works. So the Gemara answers, no, we don't have a proof. Hasam Damarle Zilkani. There, by Rav and Shmuel's case, it's talking about where the seller said to him, go be kind. So since he said to him, go be kind, right? So therefore, it's therefore that's why the kinyan works. But let's say the seller didn't say anything, and he puts the things into the kli, in a kli of the buyer in his rishus, that is not going to be considered a kinyan. So that's the end of this Gemara, and the Gemara does not come out what it's going to hold of this kli. Okay, now on to the next sugya. All right, now we get into Viter and Kinyonim. So Tanan Hasam, we learned in a Mishnah over there. The Chasam Sheyesh Lan Achrais, where we've had this Mishnah many times. Nechasim sheyesh l'machrais is just a code word for karka, right? Because it has achrayas to it, meaning you have liens. Liens is normally liens are things that are on property. So nechasim sheyesh l'machrais, which means that there's responsibility there. Though the way you are kind and niknin, the kesef ubishtar ubechazak. You kind of with those three. But if it doesn't have achrayas, ain't niknin ela b'mashicha. Meaning she'ein lan achrayas is basically metaltalin, right? Movable things. That you can know. The only kinyan you could do is with mashicha. Right. So basically, what I'm saying, karka you can be kind of with kesef shtar and chazaka, and metaltalin you can only be kind of with mashicha with pulling it. So basura mastul Allah shmaitz mishmeidu Rav Chisda. In Surah, they learned this in the name of Rav Chisda. Pumbedisa masnula mishmeidu Rav Kahana. And Pumbedisa learned the name of Rav Kahana. Ba'ami la mishmeidu Rav, and some say it was the name of Rava. That loishon, and this is an important caveat on the Mashicha. When does Mashiach work? That's only when it's something that you can't pick up. So since you can't pick it up, then the way to do it is by pulling it. Meaning you have a heavy load, so you can't pick it up. So when you can't pick it up, you pull it. But let's say something that you could pick up, which is most metaltalin, right? Let's say a chair or a phone or anything that you're buying. If it's the derech to pick it up, hagba in v'mashicha loy, then you're kind of with hagba. You're not kind of with mashicha. So now that's what the Gemara is going to focus on. That is it really true that when something could be picked up, that's the only way to be kind of. And the only time you do Mashiach is when you can't do Akba. So the Gemara is going to go through different questions. So Yosef Abai was sitting and he said over the Shmaitza, so Rav Ada Bar Masa asked the Kasha Abaya, Hagoynev Kis B'Shabbos. So somebody stole a wallet on Shabbos. So we know that there's something called Kamle B'Derav Mineh, that when you're over on two Isurim at the same time, you get the punishment for the major Isser, and you become potter on the lighter Isser, right? So if a guy steals on Shabbos and he takes it out of somebody's Rishus, so you got potential paying back for stealing, and you have Chil Shabbos. So if it happened at the same time, he's going to be potter on the stealing because he's Chayav Misa. But if it didn't happen at the same time, then he'll be Chayav for both, because he'll be Chayav Misa first, and then Geneva, or probably more likely the other way, which is he'll be Chayav on Geneva first, and then on Misa, right? So that's the case here. So I'm going to Kis B'Shabbos, Chayav. He's still Chayav in Geneva. Why? Shekvar Neschayav in Geneva, Kodim Shabali Deis Shabbos. He's already Chayav in the Geneva before he became Chayav in the Shabbos, right? So why? Because he did a kinyan, right? Okay, so right. So how do you do the kinyan? So he did a hakba. He did a hakba with a das to steal. He did it in somebody else's year because kalim. Our issue was kalim. Here you did a hakba. Hakba in somebody else's rishus would work. I mean, you're a crook. You're a crook. Yeah. So he was over on the Geneva. Why does it say he picked up something Muksa is the Rabbanon. Oh, really? The whole thing is Torah? Yes. Okay. But let's say he was dragging it and he took it out. Then he's potter. Why? Right? He dragged whatever it is that he was stealing out of the guy's house from Rishus HaYachid to Rishus HaRab. Right? So the Chil Shabbos happened the same time as the Geneva. Right? So he's potter. Shabbos Geneva Ba'in Ke'echad. So the Gemara asks, "Varekis the bar hagbahu a wallet." Talking about a wallet here. A wallet is something that could be picked up. And we're saying that you're kind of a mashiach by pulling it out of your rishos, right? So, didn't we just get finished saying that according to everybody, Surah and Kumpadisa, you cannot be kind of something for hagba if it's meant to be dragged. Sorry, you cannot be kind of something b'mashicha if it can be picked up, and here you clearly see that you can. Say answer back. Now that's the special case. They're talking about b'misna. He didn't stop drag it. He had it. He dragged it with the straps, right? With the handles or the straps, right? So Mamela. Well, let's see the Gemara's Kashan Teretz. The Gemara says, "I'm not Mr. Coming. I was talking about with the straps, right?" So what does it mean? He says, no, it means that something that needed the straps. Since it needed the straps, meaning it was so big, whatever it is that he was stealing, he picked a good guy to steal from. The guy had a lot of money. He had a big wallet, so heavy that he couldn't even pick it up. So he had to drag it by the straps. Right? So therefore, there was no way to do hakba, and it was only mashicha. So that's why he is potter from the Geneva, because he's chayiv the Misa for Shabbos at the same time, right? But Enochanami, if it was a wallet that he dragged out of the house instead of picking it up, then it would be no Geneva there. It wouldn't be a Geneva at all because it's not a Kinyan. So I'm going to ask another raya. Toshima, yeah.
You ever saw this lashon of the Rashbam quoting Rashi?
Quoting
the Mem Chav. There's a one-line Rashbam here. He changes the Girsa in the Gemara.
Yeah.
And he says, Kach Shitas HaGemara in the Chayna, the Chaymatzas
Oh, yeah,
Yadas,
yeah, yeah.
Aveinu, Mekeni, Memchav,
What is Mem Chav? Milas Kvoida?
Menuchas Kvaydei, Menuchasei Kavod.
Nuchazako, yeah. I think
What's
it's not the only Rashbam that has it, is it?
And not the only one, but it's quite rare.
Yes, that's true. It's a good point. Thank you for pointing that out.
What's the shot with this straps? I don't understand. Why doesn't the Gemara just say the kiss is too heavy to pick up? It says the straps. Oh, but
because he was dragging it.
so, but I mean, the straps is how it tells you that it's too heavy. So just say it's too heavy to pick up.
I mean, why do you need to come on to straps?
Yeah, what was the whole teretz of straps is that it's too heavy to pick up and it's not really able to be picked up. That was the whole teretz. So just say we're talking about a case where it's too heavy to pick up. It says straps. Oh, I'm also talking about straps. Oh, straps means you can't pick it up. Just say we can't pick it up. What's straps? I don't understand that.
I hear. Unless it's just to fit in, it's not nearly as good as Teretz as Yukashi. Unless it's to fit into the dragging. How do you drag something? You need to grab onto it. No, but I don't. Maybe can you grab onto something that's large? Maybe.
I don't really know what a kith looked like back then. I'm imagining like a money bag. I don't really know what. You know,
What was the question? What was your question?
Why do you need straps?
Yeah.
Why what?
Why does it have to be straps? Just say it was heavy.
Doesn't he have to do Mashiach?
Well, he'll do it with the thing that's heavy. He'll just push it.
I think it could be to give two chidushim. Usually, this would be called masira, possibly. But I think it's like hamniachas hakad. The chavis and kad are the same thing. The kiss could mean both what we call a kiss, just a wallet, and this big satchel or whatever it is that has to be dragged. It's also called a kiss.
So therefore, I understand.
That's why it says it this way. Tell us what a kiss is. Like the Mishnah in Menichas HaChavis, Menichas HaKad, calls it a Chavis to show that a Kad and a Chavis are the same thing. They're interchangeable. The Chavis is a Kad. Here a kiss is not just the small wallet, it's also the big, whatever it is, this sack that has to be dragged.
Right. Yes, yeah, but the Maisa, why it could still be, you can't kick it?
Well, I think the normal way would be to drag it the way it's usually dragged, which is with the straps.
Right.
Even a cod has a kiss, a regular wallet, what they call the kiss, had a drawstring.
I hear. Okay, maybe. Okay, so let's see. So Tashima. In the Rishus Meicher, right, he's not kaina until he either picks it up or until he brings it from his Rishus. Yeah, either picks it, whatever, either one. So until he picks it up or takes it out from his Rishus. Alma midi de bar hagba, right? So it has to be a bar hagba. Because we're talking about the guy taking it out as a shus. And it sounds like if he wants, he could be kind with hagba, or he could do a mashicha, right? The price is saying in the rishus of the meicher is not kind until he either picks it up or he brings it out of his rishus. So obviously, bringing out of rishus is not hagba because he already did that, or that already the price is said. So it must be talking about mashicha. So it sounds like you have a choice to do mashicha or hagba. So that's not a raya. That price is not going on both. It's saying litztadin, meaning it goes. Each one is a separate. It literally means it's taking sides. Midi de bar hagba be'hagba. If it's something that you're being kind of with needs to be picked up, so then you have to pick it up. Midi the bar mashicha b'mashicha. If it's something that has to be pulled, so then you pull it, right? So that's meaning it's not or, it's case specific, right? The mashicha thing has to be pulled, and the hagbah thing has to be lifted. Okay, on to my base. Another attempt at a brayse. Tashema, another proof. The guy's selling fruit to his friend. Moshach v'loy modad kani. If he pulls it and he didn't measure it, then he's kind it. V'haperas the bnei hagbah ninu peras. It says moshach. He pulled it. We're talking about peras, right? So peras, he pulled, right? Normally peras you should be able to pick up, unless you're from the Miraglim, right? V'haperas the bnei hagbah ninu. Peras are picked up. The katani the kind of mashicha, and the bride says you kind of with mashicha. So l'chara, it sounds like you could be kind of something with mashicha, even though hagbah is an option. Now we're talking about large packages of whatever it is that he's buying. Rav obviously means large. Shlifi Rav means large packages that could only be done with mashicha. So I asked, okay, and then what about the sefer? If somebody buys flax from his friend, like right, this is the Mishnah actually. The Bryce. Mishnah.
Can you hear me?
Was the Mishnah? Yeah, we hear you.
Oh, so let me ask you: is there a difference in the halacha about buying retail or buying wholesale? He bought 1,000 pounds of grapes, where I bought a bag of grapes in the grocery for $1. How do I make a kinyan on the 1,000 pounds of grapes? I can't pick it up or schlep it or whatever.
You mean how?
And the Gemara is also seems to be talking about a retail situation. You go into the grocery to buy a dozen eggs. Or even you buy a sheep. You buy one sheep weighs 30 pounds. You buy 1,000 sheep, you can't pick them up.
Right. So wouldn't it work with other forms of kinyana, meaning you pick up some and then agav that you pick up others?
That's what I'm asking you.
Yeah, I think there's a way to do it. I think there's a way to do it that way. I think we're gonna have it pick up. I don't know, all these blocks just gel together as one long thing.
I was kind of thinking along the same lines. I was going to ask if something needs.
Sounds almost like chalipin.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a form of that. Not chalipin. Well, I guess it's a form of it.
If someone does a hagbah with 3 other people, like 1,000-pound box of grapes, so at some point it has to be lifted onto the truck. So if he does hagbah with 3 other people, is his hagbah counted, or is that not a hagbah?
You stop asking, does hagbah have to be done by one person?
Yeah. Who I did with today's technology, if he does hagbah with a forklift, is that hagbah?
If they were your workers, so it would be just like you. So
yeah, l'chayra, but what if they're the Meicher's workers?
And then you have the regular case with the Meicher's. The Meicher, his worker carries your groceries after that.
Then I need to make a kinyan. His workers aren't what kind of for me.
Right.
Okay, so when you have to put it in the trunk of your car.
No. I'm saying, but if I'm doing it with them, does that change anything?
Yeah, I understand.
If it's the Moicha's workers, so that's part of the kinyan that you're making. That's part of the deal that you made.
No, we just learned that, Rahman. That was today's daf. If it's Moicha's workers, doesn't work. The kinyan doesn't happen until it's in the lekef rishus.
I get it. But
that's not a hagbah. That's my chutzner being kinda. I want to know if the hagbah is kinda.
I hear. I don't know. I don't know enough about the kinyanim. We'll see as coming up. There's more information coming up in the next few daf too. But let's see. Okay. So Gemara asks the Seifa. So the Seifa of the Mishnah says, if somebody buys pishton from his friend, he's not kind until he takes it from this place to the other place. So Gemara says, don't they, meaning by pishton, it says you're not kind until you schlep it. So Gemara is saying, well, pishton, don't they make it in big bundles? Right, so then why do you have to say? Then why is the kinyan until he's metaltalit mi makam zel makam acher? Right, it should be just any sort of right. Why? Meaning that yitaltalenu mi makam zel makam zel means hagba, that you're picking it up, you're taking it from one place to another. So why does it have to be? Why does flax only have to be acquired with hagba? You could have a case of flax with mashicha too. I'm sure they have huge bundles of flax. So the Gemara answers, no, shani pishtan de mishtamit, from the word shmita. The pishtan is different. You can't make bundles, big bundles of pishtan, because I have no idea how exactly this works, but the flax will fall out of the bundle. If you make big bundles, large bundles, it'll fall out. So therefore, it's not possible. There's no option of it, of mashicha, only hagba.
Isn't the last Mishnah on kindness a kasha on this? Where the Neir of the Chanvani lit up the pishtan on the gamal of the guy walking past.
The what?
A merchant walking past the store with a camel loaded with
Oh,
flax.
you're talking about with Hanukkah?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but if that was not walking, it was on top of an animal.
Right, but that's a large load of flax.
It is.
Here we're saying you can't make a large load of flax.
I don't know. Does that mean that it was all bundled up, or
It's one pile
maybe on top of an animal is different?
Either it works or it doesn't. If it works on top of the animal, then tie it up like that for a person too. Besides, how did it get to the top of the animal? The guy put it there. The animal didn't do it with its hooves. They don't have opposable thumbs.
I don't know. Okay, like I said, I have no idea what the mitzias is of this flax.
Actually, I'm gonna make a note for next cycle when we get to Bava Kama. We'll discuss it.
Yeah.
Let's see if you find
You
that.
better write it now. I am
Hey, I'm gonna go get my Bava Kama. I'll put it in there.
Yeah, good idea. Just don't be traveling on that day, Aaron.
Right. I mean, I learned that from Baron. Baron always tells us notes from different cycles.
Put it into your reminders. The reminders go 8 years ahead or 9, whatever.
It's a good question. We'll find out.
Okay, so Amalei Ravina Ravashi, so Toshama, Behema Gasa, Nickness Ben Mesira. A Behema Gasa, how you kind of Behema Gasa? Behema Gasa means a large animal. How you kind of that? With handing it over. But Daka Bahagba, and a small animal is Bahagba. Divrei Rameir. For Rab Shimon ben Elazar. That's Shitas Rameir Rab Shimon ben Elazar. Chacham Bayram. Behema Daka b'Mashicha. The Chacham say Behema Daka, small animal, is b'Mashicha. For Behema Daka Davar Hagba. Behema Daka is a Bar Hagba. I think Rachman once had a Behema Daka on his lap during the daf. Yeah, if I remember correct. Maybe I think I might have a picture of it here. Yeah, I'll have to look, post it. Yeah, for Behema Daka Davar Hagba. The Katani, the kind of Mashicha. That you could be kind of with Mashicha. Right? So again, it's a kasha. Why you be kind of behema daka with mashicha? You should be mechoy to pick it up. So shani behema desircha. I don't know. Rachman would know this. The animal, you can't bring a raya from an animal. The animal is not easy to pick it up because sircha, srach means it sticks to the ground. An animal does not want to be lifted up, so it's easier, I guess, to drag it than to pick it up. Right. So
But Now we're introducing a standard that's very subjective and it depends on the person's abilities. And I don't understand now this, basically this terrace is like, okay, well, what if you're of an old person and you're not able to pick up a small thing? Or you're Yaakov Avinu and you could pick up a huge rock. So it's a dvar, it's a dvar hagba.
Yeah.
The Rashbam pretty much makes it a klal. It's pretty clear.
I'm saying the only issue I have with this is that now you just made it subjective.
Well,
and it's not a real standard.
You're making it subjective on the person side. This is subjective on the item side. Can we
but on the item too, you could say this 20-pound bag or this 30-pound bag, pick a number. There's going to be a number where half the people could pick it up, half the people can't pick it up. Imagine a 40-pound backpack. Half the people could pick it up, half people can't pick it up.
I think you would go with
but
the average person.
The average person, what's an average person?
That's the derech. The animal doesn't want to get picked up, so it has to be geschleppt. That's the derech. I don't know why that's so difficult. What does it got to do with the person being a gibor or a cotton? What does that got to do with how strong it is? This is the derech by an animal. It has to be schlepped. It doesn't want to be lifted up. So it's called. You have to be fish schlepped. That's all. I got somebody could pick up a 200-pound bull. So very nice. So a 1,000-pound bull, very nice. But the animal still doesn't want to be picked up. I think that's what the Rashbam is saying.
It's a question both ways. Someone who can't pick up a 40-pound bag, he can't be kaineh because he can't do agba. He can't do a meshicha because it only works with agba, and he can't do agba. So he can never be kaineh something.
We could do other kinyanim. We could do like a chalipin or something.
Yeah, they have to do a kinyan agav or something. Have someone put it in his chutzner, but agba he can't do.
Maybe. I mean, does that have to be a rule?
Won't work.
I'm saying, does that have to be a rule that everybody is entitled to be kind of everything?
Well, I was going to go the other way around. If you hold that a behemoth daka needs hagba, in the Havamini of the Gemara, a sheep is a behemoth daka, and male rams, half the breeds, the rams grow up to 300, 400 pounds. That's still a behemoth daka. And the Gemara is still saying the kinyan should be with hagba.
I don't know. I'll defer to Rachamim on that one.
I'm not lifting up the ram. Ram, that's a shepsel. So.
Right, you're lifting up lambs. Okay, sure. There's a 30-pound lamb. But when they're 300 pounds, that's still a behemoth daka, and no one can lift that. Well, not no one, but less than 1% of the world's population.
Right. I guess you could say averages is fine, I guess.
No, basically, I think what he's asking, what Michael's asking is that what's the difference, meaning if you're saying it's subjective on the item, so then it should be subjective on the person too. I'm not so sure that's a tushtel, but okay. I don't know how to say tushtel in Sfardi, so maybe that's good.
I don't know. There's no way.
There's no way to say it, huh? Yeah. Anyways, okay, let's see back there. So it's saying that the animal digs its feet in. Fine. Rav and Shmuel, the Amri Tavayu, not new subject now. Rav and Shmuel, they both say, kur b'shloishim ani meichel lecha. If a guy says, I'm selling you a kur, which is 30 sa. I'm selling you a kur, which again is 30 sa. I'm selling to you, right? Meaning, see, there's another thing that's missing here. Meaning, kur, the shloishim is the money. He's basically selling him a saw or a seller. Each saw is a seller. So he's selling him 1 kur, which is 30 saw for 30 slime. But his lashon is that I'm selling you the kur for 30. Until all 30 saw are measured out or handed over, he's both of them, both sides, both parties can back out. But if he says that the lashon that he says is kur b'shloishim saw b'sela ani meichel, right there he says 30 saw I'm selling you for a seller, meaning then
A sub per seller.
correct. He says it straight up, a saw per seller, then Rishon Kana, then as each saw goes, he's kind. So meaning, let's say he counts to 25 and says, this is a bad deal. So 25 go to the Lekeach, 25 go to the buyer, and 5 he could back out on. All right, so there's a difference of how you phrase it.
Because each one's an individual sale, right?
Correct. If it's phrased that way. All right. So then Toshima im haisa midah shel echad me'an rishon kana. If we said in the brisa that we had a blot ago, yesterday's daf, im haisa midah shel echad me'an. Let's say the thing that they're measuring the food into belongs to one of them, either the buyer or the seller. Rishon kana. Then as it goes into the measuring cup, he's being kind. And we use it as our example was beer, getting beer from the tap in a bar. So as it goes in, he's kind. Even if the midah was not filled up. So you see that there's still a kinyan, a little bit by a little bit. Even when he said that there's going to be a amount. So when else is going to Amarle, the kind of Amarle hin b'shneim asur slaim loik b'sela ani ma'ichala, where he said, that's talking about where I'm selling a hin, right? So which is a measurement for 12 sloim, a lug for each seller. Right, so that meaning we're saying that basically yes, that's exactly what the case was. Rav Kahana said, Shnosais hayu behin. There were these shnosas. Shnosas means they were like indentations in the, like we have our measuring cups have these lines to tell you what each one is. So Mamela, that's what that meaning they had that in the Beis Hamikdash when they were pouring the yayin to know, because he had different measurements with different karbanas. So he's saying it's similar here. That's what we're talking about here, where these measurements also had little indentations. So since they had these little indentations, so as it went, that's how they were kind. All right. Fine. So then let's just do a little more because tomorrow's Friday. So Toshima. Now this gets into ribis. Wait, should we do it or should we just how long's tomorrow's stuff? Tomorrow's not pretty short. Time is it? Okay, you know what? We'll still continue with the next kasha. We'll continue with this tomorrow. All right, we'll stop over here.
That's it?